Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first ever virtual donor appreciation brunch for Shriners Hospitals for Children. My name is Angelique Heinzen, and I'm the Director of Donor Development here at our Spokane location. Even though we can't get together in person this year, we think you will enjoy a very impactful program that we've planned just for you. But first, before we get started, I want to recognize our event sponsor, Prime Source Credit Union, who would like to share a brief message.
Hi everyone, I'm Margaret Osborne, CEO of Prime Source Credit Union. Prime Source is once again happy to sponsor this great event and support Shriners Hospital for Children Spokane. We love supporting such a great organization that makes a difference in so many children's lives. Prime Source Credit Union strongly believes in supporting local organizations that helps our children. While these are different times, our support and commitment to our friends at Shriners remains the same. It takes friends like you to also help this amazing organization to continue to care for the children. Thanks again for your support.
Thank you, Margaret, for sharing that lovely message with us. We are so pleased to partner with Prime Source Credit Union and for your continued support. Now, I'm very honored to introduce our hospital CEO, Mr. Peter Brewer.
Hello, I'm Peter Brewer, CEO, Administrator for Shriners Hospital for Children Spokane. And first of all, I'd like to do one thing. There's only one person in the room here, and I'm going to drop my mask, which is something I don't normally do. But with only one person in the room, I'm going to go ahead and do my social distancing thing so you can better understand me. First of all, I'd like to thank Prime Source Credit Union for being a sponsor of today's program. Secondly, I'd like to thank you for being a part of this very insightful virtual program, something new for us, but thank you for being a part of it. These are certainly very challenging times for us, and we've found that through our resilience, we've been able to see more kids in more locations, not only in our hospital, but in our outreach clinic. And so with that, just certainly want to thank you for your continued support, because these are unprecedented times, and we are in it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. At this time, I'm honored to introduce Mr. Monty Nesbitt, who's chairman of the Coral and Norma Alt Foundation. This foundation has supported our hospital over many years, and they've had a tremendous impact on the care we deliver to children. So welcome, Monty, and thanks for being part of our program.
Okay. My name is Monty Nesbitt. I'm the president of the Coral and Norma Alt Foundation. I'd like to talk to you for a minute about the foundation. It was started by my aunt and uncle as a way of giving back to the community. They were both benevolent. They always felt that that was a necessary thing to do. And my uncle was a Shriner, member of the Nile Shrine on the west coast of Washington. And both of them wanted a way to assist the Shriners Hospital after they were gone. So they established the foundation. They enjoyed giving to people in need. My uncle enjoyed mentoring people in business and professionally and how to succeed in life. And Shriners Hospital was especially close to both of them. And it was a way for them to give back to families in need with children that had special needs. Every year is important for donations. This year especially with the pandemic and epidemic going on, those donations are especially important this year. Seeing your funds go and your donation go to a specific need, such as the purchase of a spinal motor, which was done by the Coral and Norma Alt Foundation in 2018. There's been 72 surgeries, spinal surgeries since then. The spinal motor helped with a lot of them. It's important to donate, and it's especially gratifying to specify that the donation go to a specific need. Thank you for letting me comment on the value of donating to the Shriners Hospital in Spokane. I know that it would please my aunt and uncle. Thank you.
Wow, what a great impact the Carl and Norma Alt Foundation have had on our hospital. Thank you, Monty, for sharing that wonderful story about Carl and Norma's dedication and heart for children. It truly means a lot to us. Now, here with me, I'd like to introduce our board chairman to share a few words, Ken Massender.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you all for being with us today and your amazing support that you give to this hospital, because without you, we could not do what we do every day. Our dream is to be here another 100 years, and you are the one that's going to make that possible. And I really want to thank you for your support in the past and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And now we're ready for the fun part of our program, our first giveaway. So everyone who entered to register for our event were entered into a drawing, and we're going to do 3 giveaways today. Our first giveaway is a coffee basket, and it was donated by Generous Coffee. Generous Coffee is a profit for purpose who donates their proceeds to invest in hope-filled, life-changing stories for people all around the world. So I want to thank Generous Coffee for being part of this program for us. Okay, Ken, so now let's pull a name to win the coffee basket.
The winner is Mrs. Esther Cox. Congratulations. We get to give something back to all you have given for us. Thank you.
Esther, thank you so much and congratulations. We're so happy that you're part of our program today, and we hope you enjoy your coffee. And now, Ken and I are very excited to welcome the next segment of our program, and it's going to feature Lisa Smith, our Associate Director of Development, with one of our patient ambassadors, Shay Lease.
Hi, everyone. I am Lisa Smith, the Associate Director of Development for the Spokane Shriners Hospital. I'm happy to be here today with all of you and with a remarkable young lady with an experience of care at our hospital that she would like to share with you today. Shay Lease is a patient ambassador for our hospital and a truly bright light wherever she goes. And we are looking forward to hearing more about her story of care. So I want to begin with a welcome to you, Shay. Thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to hearing about your journey and how you're doing now. I know you've been a patient of ours since just a few months after you were born. And
Yeah.
I'd love if we could start by hearing what brought your family to Shriners Hospital.
When I was born, I was diagnosed with severe scoliosis. And so I went to our pediatrician and they referred us to Shriners Hospital, which led into my very first surgery, which was the day after I was 1, I think. Yeah, so the 25th of February. But they took out a rib because I had an extra one. And they used it to mold a piece of my spine, trying to make sure it stays a little bit more stable and like it wouldn't progress as much, like trying to slow it down. And then after that, I used to wear braces, go to checkups, just normal stuff. And then January 2nd of this year, we finally decided to do a thing called halo traction and planned for March 9th to do a metal rod surgery.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Shay, we're so glad that your family found Shriners Hospital and that it's been an important resource and support for you. I know you shared a little bit about the surgeries, but could you share a little bit more about the type of care and services that you've received over the years? You know, what's accompanied the surgeries to help you kind of get back up and running?
Yeah, so I had a halo traction application. That is the word for it because you can't count it as an actual surgery because of how short time it is. And so that's pretty much, they put screws in your head in the first layer of your skull. So I have 2 little scars here and then some in the back. And their goal for that is to stretch my spine out as much as possible so that the surgery that the upcoming surgery that I was going to get was a little bit more safe, and my spine was stretched as much as possible, and then you could add more to it of the straightening. And so, yeah, after that on March 9th, I had my metal rod surgery, which was a 8-hour surgery. And what they did was they went in the front and back side of my spine, and they took out a few ribs and they grinded it together, and they put it on my spine and then put the rods in. And so they got it like super close to a normal spine, which is crazy. Yeah, because of how severe my back was. It was around 92, 93. It changed like up and down between those every time we go in. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, the technology that's out there now for something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Well, it sounds as though it's been quite a journey for you to where you are today. I think one of the big questions we all would have is, how are you doing now? And how has this care impacted your life?
It's crazy. If you would have met me 6 months prior to this, you would definitely tell, like if I ever bent over to pick something up, you'd definitely tell. Wow. Like I would have a hunchback. And so that was always interesting of seeing like other kids who had straight spines, and then you're like that one kid who's like, oh, that's weird. But it's crazy. I used to have pain every single day. I had to go on pain meds, muscle relaxers. My pain got so bad one time where I went in and I actually had muscle relaxers injected into my muscles in my back, just so I could like have a little bit of relief. But so that was like crazy, because like being able to sit in a car for not even 15 minutes without pain, like it was just like not good. And I remember like we would go to the movies with family, and I would be like I couldn't like sit down for that long, like, and we went to like ones that had recliners too, and it was just like I would not be able to do that. Like it got to the point where it was so painful, where I remember crying one time. I was surprised how much pain I was in such short time, because like like you just want to be normal, you want to go to movies, you want to hang out with friends, and like a lot of things were like, I can't really do that anymore, like that hurt.
So it seemed like they should be a little easier were difficult to do, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did track in 8th grade, and that was perfectly fine. I didn't have much pain. And then 9th grade hit, and I tried running, and it was just so painful. And I was like, I can't do that. So I had to drop out of track, and I'm a super sportsy person. So it was really bummering. Like, it was sad. But after the surgery, I like no pain. Like, it's crazy because I can feel my rods sometimes. So like if I get cold, I can feel the rods. It's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. It feels weird, but it's like not. But it's crazy because like I'm not in pain anymore. I can run now without pain. I've sat in the car for like a while without pain. Like I can go into town and back and be like, oh, okay, let's go do this now without pain. And it's just crazy to see how much difference it is, because going into this, we didn't know if I'd still be in pain, because there was a huge chance of, yeah, you still might be in a lot of pain. So just coming out of this and not having any pain at all is pretty great.
That is wonderful to hear. We're really fortunate to be able to get to know resilient and determined kids like you. I wonder if you might share a little bit with us about what you think makes Shriners Hospital unique. What stands out to you and has made it a positive experience for you?
Everyone there is just so positive. Like they take their time to get to know you. Like they'll like if they're talking to someone and like they end their conversation, they'll be like, "Oh, how are you?" Like they genuinely like care about you. You make your relationships with the nurses. They're so sweet. Like I remember staying and there were a few nurses that were on the nighttime ones, and there were probably like one or two other patients, and they'd go check up on them, and then like we just talk, and so it was pretty great. But one thing that's super unique that is everyone's just so kind. It's a positive environment, and like even the doctors get to know you. And being in the hospital for so long, like when you go downstairs, you can see like everyone, and like everyone starts to get to know you. Like you'll go in circles because there's nothing else to do. But like you make fun out of it. Like you create relationships with patients before they like leave, and just it's a really really fun environment. And everyone, like even being in the hospital for 75 days, like you created relationships with everyone. And so it's so unique because like you can just tell how much everyone puts effort into it. And even the recreational center, all the employees there, they took their time to like get to know you, find out things you like, and just like connect on a personal level and make you not feel like you're in a hospital, just make you feel like you're normal and stuff. So it was really nice.
That's great. I if I remember right, you had a birthday while you were here. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I had my 15th birthday in there, and it was crazy. Everyone was just like so sweet, and like there is a party that I created with my family, and a lot of my friends came, which was really nice. And then the hospital did one, and then the Moonshriners did one also.
Okay, sure.
And so it was just so sweet, like that they even had the time to do that. Like it was really sweet of them.
Oh, that's great. That's nice to hear that. I appreciate you sharing all of this, Shay. It's been really great to hear your story and how things look different for you now since coming to Shriners Hospital. I'd like to leave off with just one more question to see if there is anything you would like to say to our hospital supporters listening today who helped to make this kind of care possible.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to say thank you guys so much. That it genuinely changed my life of being in pain every day to not having pain anymore, and being able to like do stuff that I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it anymore. And just like being able to prove myself wrong and just living my life to the fullest now.
That is so awesome. Well, we're super excited to see what's next for you. We'll continue to be here to support you, and I am sure you have inspired many with your perseverance and positive outlook. Thank you again for sharing with us today. Up next, we're going to be heading back to see Ken so he can do the second giveaway of the morning.
We're back with another giveaway. The basket is our Comfort and Cozy Movie basket. The winner is, it's a secret, Mr. and Mrs. Don and Bonnie Thompson.
Congratulations, Don and Bonnie. We're very glad that you got to win one of our door prizes. And we'll be getting in touch with you after our event to make arrangements for you to receive it. Now we'd like to introduce our pediatrician, Dr. Ryan Baker, to provide a perspective on the care we provide specifically in treating children with sports injuries and concussions. We are so fortunate to have his expertise.
I'm Dr. Ryan Baker. I've been at Shriners for a little over 3 years, came in March, I think, of 2017. And a little bit on my background, I'm a pediatrician that did a primary care sports medicine fellowship, so I more do non-operative orthopedics as well as concussion treatment. In terms of how my clinic runs. I'm a couple days a week in the fracture clinic and help offload some of the work because it's gotten busy. And then I'll keep managing most of those patients that I follow. And then I'll also see more acute and or chronic, like sports or recreation related injuries, and or concussions. The concussions can be problematic longer term. We don't really know the long-term complications that can stem from a concussion. However, they do seem to last longer in kids than in adults, and we can't necessarily treat them the same way as we treat adults. And they're much more likely to have symptoms that are anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks versus adults are usually about 7 days. In terms of other injuries that occurred that we're seeing, like despite a lot of sports being held down because of COVID and those sort of the pandemic issues that have arisen, they're still recreating, they're still playing, they're still doing activities and running. And so I've actually seen 2 stress fractures in femurs lately on boys who are not a typical group to get them in. But they had a time off from sport because of COVID. They went back to work and started working out on their own without a really designed instruction back to that. And then they sustained these injuries, which I only had 1 in my career, and I've had 2 in the last month. It's been wonderful to be a part of this community and taking care of patients first and not the pocketbook first from the patients, if that makes sense. Because after I made my transition here from a different medical group, I had a patient who couldn't afford a back brace because it was going to cost them $800 or $1,000, but it would have been medically indicated for them. They actually followed me here, and within 2 weeks I had him a brace, and then he was back to sporting and activity within about 6 weeks. And that wouldn't have been able to happen for that individual without the support of the donors to help take care of that kid when there's an obvious health gap in our health insurance and other financial resources for these patients. And so I actually felt like I could take care of patients without me worrying about what sort of nickel and dime that they're going to end up having to pay out of their pocket. And so that in and of itself gives me more value in the care that I provide to those families and those patients. Wonderful knowing that you guys do support Shriners and help us support the families that then won't be financially strapped. And so it's a wonderful attribute to have, and it makes me feel valued myself because I get to then value the care that I give to my patients. Thank you for all that you guys do for us. We thoroughly appreciate it. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baker. We are so honored to have you part of our exciting future here at Shriners Hospitals. And now we're ready for a third and final giveaway featuring Shrine Swag.
This is the fun one right here, the final one of the day, to say thank you to you all, and here we go. Oops. And the winner is Mr. Earl Brecker. Congratulations.
Well, everyone, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. It was such an honor for us to put it together for you so you could really enjoy it and be part of our Shriners community, even though we can't get together face to face like we normally do. And I want to thank you again for all of your support as we continue to impact the lives of children like Shaylee's.
And now we'll be looking at another video of a family that you have impacted their lives, and we appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you all later.
My name is Danny, and I am the mom of 2 very special little boys. When I was 20 weeks pregnant with my first son, Ryder, the day that we went in to find out what we were having, they were doing the scans, and we expected it to be just this really exciting moment. And quickly that was taken from us. They brought in the doctor, and he starts asking us questions about if anyone in our family has experienced clubfoot, if anyone in our family has experienced heart disease, and all these different questions that were just so off guard. And he explained to us that on the scans it was showing that Ryder was going to have clubfoot. And they started telling us that Olympians have clubfoot and all these things, and all him and I could think of was like, what is going on? This isn't how it's supposed to be.
It was just really dramatic when we found out, because Danny was, it's her baby in her tummy, and she wants to do everything to protect him, and that's one thing she can't change. So it was really hard to deal with for probably the first week.
We were sad and we were scared, and we didn't really know how to receive that news gracefully.
It was really just hard to hear that, there's any sort of birth defect.
Going in to all these appointments, we were just terrified. They had mixed feelings about it, and they didn't really know what the process to correct it was. But we got to Shriners, and it was just like all of our troubles seemed to be lifted away by the people there.
Once we talked to Shriners, everything was fine. All of our questions were answered.
I think they could just tell that we were so scared. We probably looked like deer in headlights walking in there, not knowing what to expect, and they just opened up their arms to us and took in Ryder. The burden that we felt was lifted within a matter of seconds.
Their education about it is just wild. They immediately changed our point of view about the whole thing, just because, this is pretty, common for us. We see it all the time, and explained that there's going to be casting, and that then they're going to go into the boots and bar, and then once they're 4, I think it's 4, you're going to be done with it, and they're going to live a regular life. Then in my head it's like, all right, well, now it's just a trip to Spokane.
Shortly after Ryder was born, I got pregnant with my second son, Taylor. We were told the odds of Taylor having clubfoot are slim. Don't worry about it. He'll probably have the straightest feet that we've ever seen. We
were asking the doctors, do you think that the second one is going to have clubfoot early on? And they were like, oh, if he has clubfoot, you should go get a lottery ticket, because, he had the Vegas odds.
We went in for that 20-week ultrasound, and there was that curved foot. She didn't even have to tell us. We just knew, and we just looked at each other and locked eyes and just laughed.
But kind of thought it was cool, because then Ryder won't grow up and be like, why doesn't Taylor have to have a bar? They just get their boots and bar together, and nobody's left out.
I remember going to Shriners for an appointment for Ryder about a week later, and talking to Becca, one of the nurses there, and I said, Becca, guess what? This baby has clubfoot too. And she was like, well, let's just get him an appointment. And so she did a tentative appointment for him. And something about doing that just made us feel like so proactive, and that everything was gonna be okay. And we just knew Shriners was gonna take care of us.
I think they really do care about all the kids they treat, because they seem to light up when they see any kids in there. So, and I think it's probably for the kids too, like, hey, they're here to focus on me, I'm gonna be all right.
Shriners Hospital has provided Casey and I guidance and comfort. They would ask us how we were doing, not just our children. They would ask, like, mentally and emotionally how we were handling it. I think they put a real focus on our mental health as well as our children's, and that allowed us to be better parents. Now Ryder is almost 2, and he's on the move, and Taylor is chasing after him and wants to get in there too. I don't think there's anything that can stop those boys from accomplishing and meeting the goals that they set for themselves. And because of Shriners Hospital, they're gonna be able to do all of that because their feet are straight. So the world's their oyster. They can do whatever it is they want to.